Darlene Washington, and this is Spiritually Intriguing, the Church Edition. I'm here today with Pastor Chet J. Johnson of New Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church in Gary, Indiana. Pastor?
Hi.
How are you?
Great, and how about you?
Just fine.
Good, good.
Okay, well, normally what we do, and we're going to do it again here, is just talk about your pastoral journey. So I'm going to ask, how did you become Pastor Chet Johnson? What did you do?
Well, I grew up in the church at Zion Missionary Baptist Church in East Chicago, Indiana, under Reverend Dr. J.C. Wade Jr. So Christian experience has always been a formidable part of my upbringing. I went off to college and came back to the church, got involved in Sunday school and teaching and Bible study, those types of things. And then the call to the ministry came upon me in 1992. Got called to the ministry, and then in 97 I got called to pastor here at New Tabernacle.
Okay, well that must have been an awesome call.
It was, yes,
Yeah.
It was.
Brighten up your day. So, is there anything else you'd like to share about your
Well, my background, I'm an engineer by profession. I worked for 20 years for the General Electric Company as engineering manager in the power generation business. So, and I retired from General Electric in 1997 to pastor full-time. Also got a bachelor's degree in religious study from Calumet College in 1999. And so that's the extent of my academic studies, apart from being involved with a part of the National Baptist Convention, USA Incorporated, and I've been a lecturer as well as a teacher, and had many opportunities to preach during various sessions, and also part of our district and our state affiliation with the National Baptist Convention.
Wow, that's a lot. Not a lot of people can say that they've been in all those arenas like that. That's very impressive. Okay, well, that's all you have to say about your journey. We'll go right into our questions.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, the first thing we're going to talk about is child abuse. Right now in the media, there's something going on with a gentleman by the name of Adrian Peterson. And here's the question I have. Why are we accusing people of child abuse who whip their children like their parents whipped them? Look at the case of Adrian Peterson, who whipped his son with a switch and left cuts. Who wasn't whipped with a switch in the late 80s or 90s? I mean, I don't want to condone any cuts and bruising to anybody's child, or and personally, when I was getting my whippings with the switch, I also thought it was child abuse.
Right.
I hate to say it, but I did. But my mother, she was raised that way. And I think this is something that has come from generations back. So I don't know how, as Mr. Peterson said himself, he's like, I don't even know how this happened. So what do you think of that?
I guess it's kind of two questions. One, to address the matter of Mr. Peterson, and the other one to address the issue of what constitutes itself as child abuse when it comes to disciplining your children. The issue with Mr. Peterson, not able to speak directly, and definitely not wanting to be critical or criticizing a person because of a particular incident that they've been involved in. I heard him state that he is not a child abuser, and that he did not intend for it to turn out the way it did, which oftentimes may be a case when a parent is disciplining their children. One incident may not necessarily constitute one as being a child abuser, and without knowing all the specifics surrounding that particular incident, it's hard to make, even to draw an opinion as it relates to him in general, and the incident that he was involved in. So I think as things develop, he has the opportunity to speak and give his point on the matter. Then we might be in a better position to determine whether he was excessive or not. But when we look at child abuse in general, or not so much child abuse, but punishment, when it comes to disciplining children, I think there's a balance. I think what society has done has taken away that balance.
Okay.
The Bible in Proverbs, particularly in the 13th, 19th, 23rd, 29th chapter, it speaks about disciplining the children, and it used terminology such as the rod. You spare the rod, you spoil the child. Even goes as far as saying that if you beat, that's the word translated, if you beat your children, it will save them from hell. In other words, it speaks to the necessity to use some form of forceful discipline on children because of the nature of sin. And the sin nature influence and effect on persons as it relates to their being disobedient and going contrary to the established rules and order. And so parents have to have available to them that balance. There are times where spanking is necessary. There's times when talking to them is necessary. And as the Bible speaks about that, it's not talking about being abusive. And that's the responsibility of the parent. As we love our children, we discipline them because we love them. And the form of discipline, if we use it the right way, the correct way, it will not be abusive. But I think society has become so sensitive and timid, and the intention to require everyone to discipline the same way when, like you spoke, our cultures are different. I grew up being spanked, whooped, whatever terminology you want to use, with switches, with ironing cords, with belts, those types of things. And even as I look at it today, I do not view it as having been abusive, but necessary. And again, I do not advocate child abuse. I do not advocate going to the extremes because factors have to be considered. The age of the child, and being the age, what type of discipline do you employ upon them? And so those are factors, whether it's a male or whether it's a female. Those are factors to consider as it relates to what effect it's going to have on them long term. So the extreme in either direction, nothing but timeout seat, I think that would not prepare a child right. Nothing but physical abuse, that would not. Again, I believe there needs to be a balance. It's the parents' responsibility to understand how to incorporate those components in disciplining their children. And I'm also willing to bet, as we use statistics, we use data, we chart that out to determine where things are going. As I look back over the years of when we grew up and how children are growing now, I think if you plotted parent discipline on the vertical axis and child misbehaving and they're being negligent, irresponsible on the horizontal axis, I think you would see that as the punishment went up, those other things went down. But I believe nowadays, if you look at it where punishment went down, those other things have gone up. So everything that children are involved in now that goes against the order of things, I believe is directly related to the fact that the discipline is not balanced anymore. We spank our children because of their violating the rules. And we use whoopings to incorporate some attention. We want their attention. No different than police officers have guns, they have stun guns, they have billy club, they have mace, and they use those things. And if we don't do it to correct our children at the early age, not justifying Mr. Peterson, whatever he did, he's going to have to answer to that. But if we ignore employing balanced discipline, then the police will use their guns, their stun guns, and all the other things that they use to drive a behavior. Correct.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a very well thought out answer, very well responded to, response to the question. I think also I just want to add that, I mean, because the children are moving around and, you know, they're trying to get away from you. Yeah, I mean, little things might happen, but I don't think, you know, you can tell when a child is being abused.
Yes, you can.
There's a difference in the way they act in school, how they talk, everything, you know, when the parent is around, you know, it's a big difference. So I hope that the investigation on Mr. Peterson will prove clean.
Right. The children will express fear in one or two ways. One, in reference to the parent, or in just total fear, meaning afraid of the parent. And those are things you're able to look at to determine whether the child is really afraid of the parent because of the things they do, or as a result of being whooped, they respect their parents.
Right.
And I know that's what I did.
Right.
I respected my parents as a result of what they did.
Yeah, well, these are the tactics of old versus new, so
Right.
it's quite a thing to see. Another question I have, I was looking on the internet and I saw something about still women's wages and men's wages. And I cannot believe it. I was like, I cannot believe that in this day and age we are still fighting for women to receive equal pay. And, you know, my question is really just why? Why would we have to be still trying to get equal pay in 2014?
Right.
You know, it's ridiculous. Women have been senators, they've been presidents, they fought in wars, they performed surgeries. You know, what is the problem? Why do we have to be made to feel less than by receiving a lesser pay?
Right. I think whatever biases are there might be specific to the individual professions that they might be in. But my position is basically clear. If the job requirement is the same, in other words, if they're doing the same job, if they have the same title, taking away seniority not being a factor, job performance measurements not being a factor, there ought to be equal pay.
Yeah.
It's just cut and dry. Now when you consider seniority, a person who's been doing a job for 20 years and someone come in, whether it be male or female, doing the job for the first time, same job maybe, but for the first year, should not necessarily expect the same pay. Likewise, if it's a performance evaluation, your performance is not meeting up to the other person, there ought to be some disparity in the compensation. But taking those factors out and comparing apples to apples, I mean, there's no question. They ought to be receiving the same pay. Why it's not, there are biases that are still out there that time prayerfully will make the necessary correction.
Well, does this have anything to do with like biblical reference that they feel like, you know, women are still supposed to be beneath the man and so therefore, you know, should get lesser pay and
Well,
you know, they do the same job?
And if they use any biblical scriptures to suggest that, I would say that it's a misinterpretation of scripture. When the Bible speaks of relationship between man and woman, it's as God designed it in relationship and not in employment. and so I think we ought not confuse the two and try to use one and extract the principle out of it in terms of relationship and to apply it in business relationship between a man and a woman. I don't think that fits.
Right. And I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, that about does it for this session of Spiritually Intriguing, the Church Edition. Thanks for watching.